What's up, guys? Benyam Kidane here from NBA Australia, and welcome back to another episode of Courtside Huddle. We've got two very, very special guests in the building. Australian basketball legend Andrew Gaze. How you doing, man?
I'm going really well and excited to have a chat. There's a lot going on in the NBA right now, so looking forward to getting stuck into it.
And a man who needs no introduction, the voice of the NBL, Corey Homicide Williams. Thanks for joining us, man.
What's going on, man? Glad to be here. Listen, I'm with the great ones, so I'm always happy.
No, it's
not
great.
every day you get a chance to be with Gaze, so it's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Oh, I appreciate it. I appreciate it for sure.
We're amongst royalty here, guys, and it's been a big week, obviously, in the NBA. But before we get to all that stuff, we're going to talk all things NBA playoffs. You guys are down in Melbourne. Obviously, things are going a bit tough down there at the moment. How are you guys holding up with everything going on down there?
Well, for me, it's been as good as can be expected. I'm very fortunate. I work on another program called The Bounce. It's a footy show, and it gets me out. I believe it or not, somehow or other, it's regarded as an essential service. So I'm actually allowed to get out of the house at least once a week to get to the studio and film that show. So that and this, what we're doing right here, I'm sure you guys are the same, and I know Homicide, every time I open up my phone, if the first 8 things on Twitter, Instagram, or whatever it is not for Homicide, I start to worry about the brother because I'm not sure because he's that freely on there. But doing this type of stuff, it sort of keeps you connected with everyone. So it's really tough, and a lot of people are doing it hard. And I know a good friend of mine, Mark Reiki, runs a business, and it is incredibly difficult. But for me, it hasn't been as challenging as it has been for some others.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, I can attest to what you're saying, Andrew Gaze. I've just been trying to stay as busy as I possibly can. You know, the worst thing you would want to do is do nothing. You know, you have to find ways to continue to be productive, whether it's going outside for a walk, working out, Zoom workout with trainers, talking to friends and family long distance, anything to keep your mind sane. Do your best to be productive. And those are the things that I've been doing, you know. So that was it for me.
It's good to hear. Good to hear, fellas. And it's obviously been a very big week in the NBA down there in the bubble. And obviously last week, you know, the players took a very united stand and they're continuing, you know, their push for social justice. That was one of the big missions coming down into the bubble. They wanted to make that a priority, that the message didn't get lost. And, you know, we saw them, you know, take that stand, you know, with the Bucks obviously leading the way. And, you know, they're being a great inspiration for a lot of people using their platform. I'll start with you, Corey. How important is it, I guess, for these players to keep, you know, pushing for social change and amplifying these voices and, you know, and continuing that mission down there in the bubble?
It is extremely important. I'm very proud of everybody in the NBA, starting from the top. You know, Adam Silver, he supports the troops, you know, obviously the players and everything that they're about. And it's a united front, regardless of what color everybody believes in. You know, the fact that we have to fight for social change. Black lives do matter. This is not business as usual. We're not just going to shut up and dribble. We're not just going to play and stay silent. We're going to let you know, we're going to be in your face until it changes. You know, these are the most influential athletes of basketball. So, you know, they're putting pressure. And every time they have an opportunity to, they're going to let you know. And, you know, that also puts pressure on ownership. You know, ownership have to do more. They have to speak out. They have to continue to support. Some owners, you know, do more than silently support. We need you to be louder. We need you to lean on your advocates. We need you to lean on the politicians that you know to push for social change. And they've started in the bubble. I think they've done a fantastic job for that matter.
And
sorry.
Go on, Andy. I was just going to say, just from a leadership perspective, you know, having the players, you know, kind of be the face of things and using their platform, you know, the way they kind of intended to. I mean, just from that standpoint, in the, you know, they've got playoffs, they've got, you know, they're trying to win an NBA championship, but for them to still take that on, just from a leadership perspective, what does that kind of say to you?
Who's that, me or
Andrew?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I thought you were going straight back to Corey. Yeah, I think it's fantastic. And one of the things, it's from a long way away, just observer of it and getting bits and pieces of what you see on social media, on television. With this particular issue, it seems as though the NBA is the one taking the lead on this. Those in power don't seem to be making the same noise and sharing the same concerns and trying to find remedies like the NBA are doing. And that is a serious indictment, I think, on the leadership of the nation. And I think it's fantastic that the NBA, right through, as Corey mentioned, from management to the players, get together and are putting in proactive ways in which they can correct the situation. It's not just about getting together and having a meeting and threatening to not play. It's about getting the owners on side. It's about creating every venue that an NBA game is being played at being a venue to vote. It's about having the ability to pick up the phone and call Barack Obama to provide some guidance and direction to the players and what they can actually do in order to make change, I think is fantastic. Now, I'm sure those in government are trying and not saying, well, this is a good thing, but they don't seem to be getting the message the way in which the NBA community has. And I think that the NBA has shown leadership to the hockey, to the baseball, to the NFL. And now you're seeing, the other day, Corey, I'm watching Nick Saban and the Alabama football team march for Black Lives Matter. How the world has changed. You don't have to go back a long time in history to see the state of what Alabama has stood for in the past. And it's now taking sport in order to make this type of noise to say, this ain't good enough. We got to do better. And I think that a lot of that's permeated from the stance that the NBA has made. And as a sport, I could not be proud of. This is more important than putting a leather basketball for a rim. This is about lives, and I think that the game and those involved, the stance that they've taken has been absolutely spot on.
Absolutely, we salute the players, we salute the league. I mean, things are really moving in the right direction. And whilst we're enjoying these playoff games in the bubble, this is the bigger picture. This is what the players really wanted to make sure was the point of coming down here. And I think they've done a terrific job of doing that. And the bubble is tough conditions for these players. They're away from their families. We're starting to see some family come into the bubble just this week. But from having no home court advantage to no atmosphere, I mean, the NBA has done a great job putting the virtual fans in there. Getting as close to the playoff conditions as they can, given these sort of trying circumstances. But when you sort of strip it all back and you look at what's going on the court, the quality of play has been fantastic. But as I said, without that home court advantage, has it kind of evened the playing field a little bit? What's your take on that, Corey?
It's definitely even the playing field. You don't have that favorite fan or that heckler in your ear that'll give you that juice. In the NBL, you got a guy like Simon Devlin that used to go to Hearst Challenge Stadium. That was a guy I looked for and thrived for. He's not there. That Red Army, they're not there. That favorite six man to get you over the hump, you got to have it in you. And if you don't have it in you to be that mental warrior, good luck.
Yeah, absolutely. I reckon that's spot on. When you see it, it's almost like a more pure form of the game, because we know that the fans have and everyone knows the fans have an impact on the contest, not only for the home team, but the reality of it is, no matter which way you slice it, history shows it also affects those three blokes with a whistle in their mouth. And when you've got 20,000 people screaming one way and it's those 50-50 calls, a lot of the times human nature says it's going to go the way of the home team. But now that's taken out, and you're spot on in saying they've done an unbelievable job with the way in which they've been able to create the signs in the background and put the home team banners up. But that ain't helping when that whistle's being blown. So it's a real pure form of it, and I think the players have done a great job. And some of the performances that we are seeing.
Oh man.
Donovan Mitchell has been just incredible, the way in which that that he's what he's done with the Utah Jazz, and each team you look at has got these standout performances. And I just watched the Celtics game, and Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart comes up and hits 5 threes in the last quarter. The work that is being done this playoffs from the three-point line, and I don't have any statistics to back it up, but from the eye test, there has been some phenomenal three-point shooting throughout this playoff series. And I know that's been the trend over the last few years, but what we're seeing through this playoff series has been nothing short of spectacular.
Oh,
it is extremely interesting because, Gage, you can touch on this. You can attest to this. Some guys get extremely nervous in front of a big crowd. And some guys are better practice players. And then when it's game time, they don't show up because of for whatever reason. So with no fans in the building, there's guys stepping up, hitting shots, making plays that they probably normally wouldn't be doing on the road.
The spot, and I don't put Jamal Murray in that category because he's a star, but he has taken his game to another level. Well, the little jewel we saw with Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray, that was something that'll go down to me as one of the all-time great one-on-one battles that we've seen. Both of them getting 50, I think it was, and it's not just the 50, it's the way in which they're getting their 50, and maybe without those fans, it allows for that situation because you've got two guys, like I say, playing on somewhat of a neutral court where the circumstances, the emotion is the same for both. So maybe that's why you get a performance like that. But just fantastic.
Yeah, we definitely seen some great basketball. And speaking of, those two future superstars in this league, I know one of the next topics we're going to discuss are guys in the playoffs that surprised us. You named those two. Let's talk about Damian Lillard. I know the first round he got injured, but let's talk about the play that he had to play to get to the playoffs. Gaze, what are those numbers?
No, he was something special, but he has done it historically. Yeah, it was phenomenal, and if it not for his incredible individual performances, they don't even make the playoffs. And I think the foofer valve of the Lakers was very tight in that, because that was going to be a tough contest. And if it's not for an injury, maybe it's a little tougher than it was. But Damian Lillard just was something spectacular. And don't poke the bear. We saw it in the second last regular season game when the Clippers are giving him the little wave off, and Paul George, and they go on backwards and forwards on Twitter. And it certainly sparked him into some action that was a delight to watch.
Absolutely.
But Gaze, sorry, B. I'm sorry, B. I'm getting hyped now. Gaze, you know the vibes. Let's talk about Luka Doncic.
There we go.
Oh my God.
We go.
Listen. I'm gonna keep it so real with you guys.
Yes.
They treated him like Detroit treated Mike.
Yep.
Like, I'm tired of this European young kid. Give us the business. We gotta beat him up. Yeah. We gotta foul him hard. That's respect. Yeah. And he kept going back. If the unicorn was not hurt, that could have potentially been an upset. My pick next year, that's MVP of the league. That kid right there is no joke.
Well,
he got everything. Yeah. You want handles, you want head fakes, step back, hezzy, left hand, right hand, to the rack, whatever you want, he got. That kid is the truth. Luka is the truth.
You don't in the regular season. It's the playoffs where you make your name. And he's done a lot in the regular season, but to see him do that at that level when all eyes are on you, just the composure for a 21-year-old kid. I mean, I know we go on and on about him, but this is like something we haven't really seen in a long time.
We've never seen that before. We
saw
He's European.
Well, that's it. And this is what I wanted to get. I wish we could go back 3 years, because I don't know who it was on Twitter or Instagram, on one of the social media. I saw some European dude had put together all the comments from the so-called experts, the Stephen A. Smiths and everyone before he got drafted, saying he's too slow, he's not athletic enough. and everyone was poo-pooing him before he got there. Now, I'm probably a little bit more biased towards the Europeans and international because I love them. So I was on Luka very, very early, but it's interesting to see those same people. Some of them are still trying to defend that he's not going to be this mega star. Now, I don't know what more body of work you have to do or what more evidence you need to see, but what we are seeing, whether it's in clutch, whether it's throughout the regular season, his ability to get to the rim. Now, sure, I think there is a little bit of room for improvement with his three ball. His numbers, I think he's shooting in the low 30s. If that improves, he only gets better. So he, I think, is one of those ones that if you went back on that same draft, which is only 2 drafts ago, there'd be a few executives. And I know the Atlanta Hawks, they still got a great one, but you look back at some of those decisions and we're all geniuses in hindsight. But to me, he is one that if he progresses, he's going to be talked about in the same vein as we talk about with Kobe, with Michael, with LeBron. He is on that pathway that if he stays healthy and continues to improve, he has got a long, very successful future ahead of him.
Well, you mentioned.
I totally agree.
You mentioned those names, Jordan, LeBron, Kobe. A lot of the records that he's breaking and making in the playoffs are from those guys. It's that elite group of guys that he's, equaling or going better than at the age of 21. So I don't think there's much hyperbole in there. The stats don't lie. And when you look around, we talked about Murray and Mitchell. Jason Tatum is balling for the Celtics as well. I think one of the big takeaways for me from the bubble is, the league is in very good hands. Kawhi and LeBron are still doing their thing. Obviously, KD and Steph aren't down there. But when you look at the young talent and the level of skill and desire to win, the NBA is in good hands.
Absolutely. You go ahead, Corey.
Yeah. And look, he didn't make the playoffs, but let's not forget about Devin Booker.
Facts.
Yes.
Devin Booker has done a tremendous job once he stepped into the bubble. So again, that's just goes to show you the next generation to continue to move the game forward from young players that are, built on the domestic soil as well as the international soil.
And the other one that maybe because of this brilliance of we've seen with these 50-point games, if you're just getting in the 30s now, it's almost undersold. But Tatum, what he's been doing with the Celtics and guiding them in an undermanned team, that has been something special as well. So we kind of, as brilliant as he is, he's getting it done with the team success. They're 2-0 now. Like I said, with a depleted team, a very important piece in Hayward not there and still being able to win, he has been something special. But it's so hard these days with so much talent coming through. Unless you're dropping 50, you're not getting the accolades. You're not getting the accolades you deserve because of these incredible individual performances.
I agree with you. I had a chance to interview him when he came with Team USA. And let's talk about the importance of, that Team USA team that came, right? And they lost and they finished 8th. Think about this.
Good
Brown,
team, though.
who were the members? Brown, Kemba, and Tatum. They had an opportunity in losing. The camaraderie began then with Kemba joining them. So now, you figure
Mitchell was on that team too, Homicide.
And Mitchell was on that team, correct.
And everyone, and just on that, and sorry to interrupt you, but here's the thing. Everyone's going, they sent a shitty team. This is not their best. Okay, it wasn't their absolute very best, but it just goes to show the respect you've got to give to the international basketball is that they found the going a little tough, even with those guys, and everyone said, I want my money back. I want my money back because they didn't send these superstars. Well, if you're watching the television right now, these are the guys that are stepping up doing these extraordinary things. So maybe some of the people that were putting a judgment on this team were, one, disrespecting the Australian team, disrespecting Australian basketball, and not giving these guys enough credit for how good they are.
Right. I totally agree. The game is no longer domestic, some of the best players in the world, Giannis, Greek African, MVP of the league, Siakam, if I'm correct, most improved. These players, the game has gone global is my point. So people are catching up. Don't just think because you're non-American and you're not that good. That's not the case anymore. You got to come with it, especially on international soil. Team USA have to bring their best in order to win.
Absolutely. Just pivoting to tomorrow's game, we got a game 7. We have a game 7 between the Houston Rockets and the Oklahoma City Thunder. The two best words in sports are game 7. And this series has had no shortage of drama, obviously, with Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook trading places. How do you think this is going to unfold? I'll start with you, Andrew. This game 7 we've got coming up tomorrow, 11 o'clock Thursday on NBA League Pass.
Well, I think that it's down to the wire, and it could go either way. Clearly, when it gets to 3-3, then the teams are pretty evenly balanced. I think the expectation was that the Houston Rockets, that they should be able to get through this one, and not only get through it quite easily. Clearly, Russell Westbrook not being at 100% and missing some games, that has an impact. And this whole concept of small ball and some of the lineups they throw out there, I understand we go to 5-out basketball a lot these days, but they sometimes take it to whole new levels with the way in which they play. So it's not only a test for the Houston Rockets, I think it's also a test for the style of play they're going to do. But if you saw Russell Westbrook down the stretch in that game 6, when they had the chance to put it away, he made some uncharacteristic turnovers and an air ball from the free throw line. It was one that I don't think that they can do it unless Russell Westbrook is at his absolute very best. So it's great for the game. It's great to have these close contests, and OKC have just been fantastic all season. Overachieved, and Chris Paul, they'd be looking down the other bench and saying, geez, maybe we might have made a bit of a blunder here, because Chris Paul has just been fantastic, and he's a great leader. And when you think of the challenges that he in particular, with his role in the Players Association and the leadership that he's had to provide with the other issues, and then to still come out and perform like he has performed, I think it's full credit to him.
Last game they played, game 6, Houston had 22 turnovers, bad fouls, gave OKC free throws. And granted, Chris Paul has been balling. My favorite backcourt is Westbrook and the bearded one. Yes. They win game 7. Westbrook played bad. We know this. He's going to come back and make up for that. Because that game they should have won. They got to lock up and play defense. I know the small ball, the isolation ball, one-on-one. They pretty much play street ball. That's what they do.
Well, the problem with it,
show up.
The problem with it as well is that last 2 minutes, and Harden's your man, and Westbrook had the ball in his hands, and Harden, he took that one late, the shot clock was running down, that late 3, but it was prior to that. We all look at the last 30 seconds, but during that stretch, he didn't see it. Right. And that's where sometimes you got to find that balance between your system and the 5-out, let's just react instinctive play. Sometimes you need a little bit of help, and I don't think down that stretch Harden got the ball when he needed it and was able to provide that leadership because of just the nature of the system and Westbrook having the ball in his hands and making some pretty bad decisions down the stretch.
I agree. He made bad decisions, and Westbrook will make right on those bad decisions.
Westbrook.
The bearded one will close that game out tomorrow. That's all I got.
You heard it first. You heard it
Westbrook. That's my man. Love him.
I like it.
We got plenty of drama in the Western Conference, but the Eastern Conference, that's heating up as well. The Bucks, the Heat, the Raptors, and the Celtics. These are all 4 teams that think they can win the title. You know, these guys aren't just making up the numbers. And obviously with LeBron not in the Eastern Conference winning every year, the field is open. I mean, we saw the Heat take that first game. Obviously, we spoke about the Celtics and what they've been doing. From what you've seen, Corey, out of those 4 teams, which team do you think is, I guess, the most dangerous when it comes down to it?
I think the most dangerous team is Miami Heat.
I love it.
Everybody saw how you stop the Greek Freak and Milwaukee. You just make a wall, and they got to beat you with shooting, right? Funny enough, we're talking about this because I usually don't write stats, but I have stats, interesting stats.
Here we go.
I just show up to the games and I talk. But this is what I found was interesting. 2-1 in the regular season, Miami over Milwaukee. The first game they won, 31% from the 3, Milwaukee shot. Miami beat them. The second game, Milwaukee shot 20% from the 3. Miami beat them. And the third game, they had to come back from being down 21 to win. Milwaukee is what I'm talking about. They shot 40% from the 3. So that tells you the story of the game right there. They got to beat you from outside. Don't let the Greek Freak get off. You have a chance to win. You know, outside of him, Middleton is playing good, but, you know, Bledsoe didn't play last game. George Hill, Brogdon, Brook Lopez is playing all right, but they got to step up to a whole nother level in order for them to have a chance to beat Miami. I think Miami's one of those teams that has their number.
Unlike you, Corey, I sort of made some predictions before the start of the playoffs, and Miami making me look like a genius because I actually said that, listen, if I had to pick a team that has the best chance to cause an upset, for some reason, I just like the way that the Miami went about it throughout the course of the season. And when you look at the play of Gordon Dragic, I think is another one that's really stepped up. That, again, doesn't get the same sort of accolades. And Jimmy Butler is this guy that, if Philadelphia are watching that and watching him put up, what was it, 30? He might have 40 in the end.
40. He hit him with a 40
in the end. And watching that and them coming to the conclusion, the decisions they made to let him go. Now, I know there might be a whole bunch of reasons why that happened and some beyond their control. But you say, gee, that looks like a piece that could have fit nicely in that Philadelphia lineup. So I like Miami Heat. I think that the story that they tell and the work that the performances are getting out of some of those lesser named guys like Robinson. Now, I know he hasn't done too much in the playoffs, but what he's been able to do with his perimeter shooting throughout the course of the season, these sort of guys that have stepped up and really providing that little spark where you don't think you're going to get that spark sometimes and Tyler Hero, how good was he? He hit a big 3 down the stretch in that game 1 against Milwaukee as well. I still think Milwaukee are going to get there, but if you're looking for an underdog to do some special things, this is, as it was tough for the Lakers and how their foof valve was tied against Portland. This one, I think, would get their attention, particularly now they dropped that game 1.
All right, guys, predictions. We've still got a lot of basketball to play, but who have you got taking out the Larry O'Brien Trophy? I'll start with you, Corey.
I got the Lakers. Straight like that. I think that LeBron is on a mission. He understands time. He understands he's chasing greatness. Time is running out. This has to be the year for him to win. There's been a whole lot of, adversity in the league and basketball in the world, and with the Black Mamba passing and everything else going on. I think that's an even more motivation to get it done this season.
Now, what about you, Gazy?
Yeah, I have to agree with Corey that I had them right from the start since they came back into the bubble. But I mean, most people did, given what they were doing before they had the little hiatus because of COVID. So I think the big key, though, is Anthony Davis. Even when they came back, and I know that they had secured top spot, so perhaps their motivation in those 8 games they were playing wasn't as high as some of the other teams. But during that period, Anthony Davis was not at his best, and they looked vulnerable. But when Anthony Davis steps up, they are a completely different team, and that combination is the best combination in the competition. And if they are both playing to their level, I think that they've got a great support crew that comes in. Kyle Kuzma has been a little up and down, but can provide a number of different options and challenges to the opposition. So I like them to win it all. And in the East, I'm still sticking with the Bucks. But, if Miami if they were able to cause an upset, then my attention would then go more to the Celtics, particularly when Hayward gets back. If he can come back and get back to his best, then the Celtics. Imagine that, the Celtics-Lakers back in the – how? There's something,
time machine.
There's something wrong. So it's not beyond the realms, but I still, at this point in time, I'm still sticking with the Bucks to get there, but the Lakers to win it all.
All right, that makes three of us. I think the Lakers.
I got Miami coming out.
Yeah, have I convinced you?
Because I think Jimmy Butler, they're going to handle Milwaukee. And I think Jimmy Butler, as much as I love Tatum, Jimmy Butler's cutting that water off.
Oh, I'm not so sure about that.
We'll see how
I got Miami, LA.
Play out. But we've spoken about the Bucks, we've spoken about the Lakers, and that really is the MVP conversation. Is it Giannis? Is it LeBron? Who you have winning MVP? I'll start with you, Gazy.
I think the numbers lean towards Giannis. I think that you look at the team that he's got and his support cast around him. Take nothing away from LeBron because he has been nothing short of spectacular. But Giannis, for me, back-to-back, the work that he's been done on the defensive end, that's already been recognised. So I think that he's going to get that double and get the MVP as well, and thoroughly deserved. I really like his attitude, the way – needs to fix up his free throw. What the hell's going on with that? I mean, gee whiz. He was Shaq-like in that game the other day, but needs to fix that up. And like we see with other players, if he can just more consistently become a three-point threat, he becomes unstoppable. The man is unstoppable if you knock down the three ball. So he's a little vulnerable now, but he's only going to get better. And what he's doing now is good enough for me to be the MVP.
What about you, Corey? Who you rolling with for MVP?
I'm gonna have to go with King James. Here's why. Last season, no playoffs to the number one seed in the West. 35 years old, 17 years in the game. This is his 17th season. 25, 8, and 10. In the first round, he averaged a triple-double and got out. Yesterday was supposed to be Portland, and they did that. And he did it emphatically with a triple-double that he averaged. I just can't see how he does not get MVP of the league. And if he doesn't, it's only because we expect him to do this all the time. And when you're great,
hang on, Corey. You're mentioning playoff. I'm correct me if I'm wrong.
It's regular season.
I
just wanted to say it. It sounded better.
It's a very, very good point. It's a very good point you're making.
An assist.
Yeah. And I don't know why,
particularly
in this COVID era that we're in, why they couldn't change the rules a little bit to include the playoffs. But it doesn't. My understanding is it doesn't include the playoffs. So
that's right.
That's why at this point in time, that's what I'm basing my decision. Now, if Corey's going to change the rules, then okay, I'm happy to vary my opinion because he's making some very solid points. But my decision is based on the rules, not like. And they are the NBA and global rules, not the Corey Homicide Williams rules.
We got one for LeBron and one for Giannis. Guys, before we get out of here, we got the NBA draft coming up October 16. The Timberwolves, they have the number one pick. I know you've been dying to talk about this story. Tell me about that number one pick.
Look, I've had the pleasure to work alongside Andrew Gaze, and it's been fun. We do this via text. We do this on Twitter. We do it on the phone. We do it on the broadcast. Yeah. And my man, Melo Ball is going number one. Let me tell you why. Anthony Edwards, as good as a player as he is, we've seen that before. That's not a generational talent. He's not going to add that much value to Minnesota, right? Mm-hmm. James Wiseman, as good as a young player as he is, He's
And
a
size.
center,
And
a
he's got
true
good
center,
size. Mm,
right? True center.
mm.
Those are going out of style these days. He's not like a European center where he could step out, shoot the three, put the ball on the deck from the perimeter and make plays happen. He'd add more value that way. Melo ball is generational. You know, I'm back in my day, as if I'm like 80 years old. Back in my day, how we judged young talent was if a kid is really good and he's young, we're gonna have him play against men. Let's see how he goes. This is one of the best leagues in the world, the NBL. This kid averaged 17, 7, and 7. First player in the history of the league to go back-to-back triple doubles at 18.
Yeah.
In the 40-minute era.
Yeah.
I saw him against grown men. And there's no way you don't pick a guy, a young kid, that's done this against one of the best leagues outside of the NBA. He's proven against men. He's only going to get better. He's 6'8", right? 6'7". It's going to be about 6'9". That's a generational talent. If nothing else, if you don't want him, pick him one and put him in a trade and go somewhere else. But either way, that is a number one pick. Not to mention the 5 million followers.
Ready.
Listen, if nothing else, it's COVID. Financial reasons only. This kid is going to fill your arena.
Yeah.
Come on, man. How do you pass that up?
You heard it here.
No, that is true. And I know we're running out of time here, so I'll be quick. There's no doubt he's going to be a really high draft pick, and I think it's great for the NBL and the message that sends, and hopefully RJ Hampton's right there somewhere in the mid to late first round that he gets an opportunity because it speaks volumes for our league. But I don't think it really matters. If you're in that top 5, as we saw with Luka, you can still do some incredible things.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to get paid. And full credit to Corey. I know Corey copped a lot of pushback and said that this guy's, just making stuff up. But it looks like a lot of the things that Corey has said throughout the course of the NBL season is coming to fruition. He's got the big contract. I don't know whether it's 100 million like Corey mentioned, but I know it's going to have a few zeros in front of it, behind it. So kudos to you. I know he takes some hits along the way, but he's been proven to be correct with a lot of the stuff on Melo. So well done to him.
We'll get vindication for you on October 16th, Corey.
Yeah, and with RJ Hampton, he's going the first round as well. So the Next Stars initiative has been a great look because I believe this was a testament to the biggest 2-name players that have ever come to play in the NBL and test the Next Stars market on this level to this capacity and to see how it worked out. So for both of these young men to be getting drafted in this manner is just a testament to the Next Stars initiative.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's hope that RJ goes high enough where he gets a realistic chance at making a good first impression, because the system is such that those guys that go a little higher perhaps get those early opportunities, whereas others may have to buy their time or have to do something special in order to get those. So let's hope so, because it would speak volumes for our program. But I think that the NBL has shown already, whether it's Ferguson or even with the young man that I had, Brian Bowen, that's now on the Indiana roster. I think that regardless of where these two guys ultimately end up, there's enough respect now for our competition to know that they're going to have confidence in sending players here, that they're going to get that level of development. I don't know a lot about the Illawarra kid that went to Boise. His name escapes me. Boise State. But that's coming on to Brian Gorgin's team. There's some guys that are going to come through that are going to get these opportunities. The only big thing, and I guess it's credit to the NBL, but it is a big thing. The NBA have looked at what's going on and getting potentially two first rounders and high first rounders to come to Australia and play in the NBA. They went whooshka with the loot in their G League, and it's going to be harder for the NBL to get those because some of those kids now that have never played college basketball can go straight into the G League and pick up the lazy 500. Now, I know Larry and I know Larry and all the clubs are keen to have this talent out here, but that's getting to a level that that makes it hard to compete with. But certainly from a teaching standpoint and an environment and a league and a presentation and a business arrangement, all those things, Australia has been recognised for what they've done. It ticks the box, and I think they've built a really good relationship with the clubs and with the NBA.
No doubt, no doubt. I think especially, last season, seeing those two guys come in and not only compete at a high level, but, there were some big time games from both of them, both Melo and RJ. RJ obviously, had to fit into a bit more of a team, but you could kind of see what he was probably going to have to do at the next level here in the NBL. And between those two guys, there's a lot of interest out here in the draft. Obviously, Melo projected to go 1. RJ's projected to go, top 20. But another guy to keep our eyes on is the Aussie, Josh Green, who's projected to go around that same sort of mid to late first round. I mean, that's just continuing.
Most draft boards have him very late in the first round. Good size. I saw him play a little bit of Arizona. Just needs to work on his jump shot a little bit. But the other one, and I'm not in the business of making outlandish Corey Homicide Williams type statements, but Josh Giddey is the one that I think that when you look at the impact that he could have, and it's hard to compare him to someone like LaMelo Ball, but he's got some skill sets that he's going to get a lot of attention. And we focus on the American kids in this NBL program that are trying to get over there into the NBA, but some of these Australian kids, I think, are going to be right there as well.
I'm looking forward to seeing him play this season. I know you speak very highly of him. You actually love him. And based off of you, I'm waiting. I can't wait to see him do his thing. He's going to have an incredible opportunity to show the world what he can do with the Adelaide 36ers. So good luck to him.
Well, guys, thank you very much both for joining us. It's been a great chat. We've got a lot more basketball to get through with the second round of the playoffs. You guys stay safe down there in Melbourne and enjoy the rest of the games.
Thanks, man.
Love it. Thanks, Bree. Good on you, Corey. Good to talk to you.
My man, always a pleasure.